Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing some philosophizing on Lord of the Rings lore to help you fall asleep, bubbies. So, tuck your head in and relax for some beauteous ASMR.
Ashnaz Durbatuluk, Ashnaz Gimbatul, Ashnaz Frakatuluk, Akbursum Ishi Krimpatul.
Alright. So, today I'm going to be doing a video, hopefully an 8-hour video on the definitive reason why the Fellowship should definitely not take the Eagles to Mordor. I've seen this discussed over the various interwebs, and I've seen some various answers related to this that I don't like at all, and some that I was like, that's passable, but it's not definitive. So we got to be definitive here. Definitivo. Definitionem. Like my video on definitions, you know? That's what I'm setting out to do here, is provide the dictionary definition for why the Eagles shouldn't be used to fly frickin' somebody to Mount Doom to destroy the ring. Ironically, some of the best responses I've seen are in Facebook comments. And I'll be touching on some of the stuff that I've seen there. Not because they gave me the idea, but because great minds think alike, and I guess I have a mind as great as some random Facebook commenter. Some obvious stuff from the Council of Elrond. And then I'll be looking a bit more deeply into the actual capabilities of the Eagles, like their physical limitations and how they can be beaten, etc., as to why they can't just take on all of Mordor. And then another thing I'm going to be illustrating that I haven't seen many people talk on is that what is a volcano? What is the anatomy of a volcano? And how does that prevent the Fellowship from being able to destroy the ring with eagles as easily as some people seem to think they could? Looking at you, how it should have ended. Your video is trash. It's an oldie and a goodie, but the specific section on using the eagles to destroy the ring just, puts a burr in my boot, you know? Alright, so let's get into this. So what is the entire point of the entirety of the Lord of the Rings? It's a stealth mission, okay? You cannot beat Sauron by any other means. Not force of arms, not subversion, not any sort of other thing that they look at in the Council of Elrond. To pose the question, why not use the eagles, to me seems like saying, well, why not just beat Sauron? Like, why not beat him? Have you ever thought of that? Why not, overpower him and beat him? For the same freaking reason, it's just not a capability that you have. Okay, so, one, you can't beat Sauron by other means other than a stealth mission. This is decided upon in the Council of Elrond when they look at more creative theories than using the eagles, such as handing it off to Tom Bombadil, because, hey, guess what? He doesn't freaking get affected by the evil of the ring, so it's not like he'd be tempted to use it, and so he could keep it, because his house would probably be one of the last places to fall to the evil of Mordor in this war of contrition that it seems like Middle-earth is buckling down for with Sauron. So why not do that? Well, multiple reasons. Read the chapter if you want that explanation. Why not just go dump it in the sea? because obviously Sauron's main power is coming from Mordor, and so the flight to the sea would be a lot easier than probably fighting your way into the heart of Mordor to destroy the ring. So why not just go out and dump it in the sea? Well, it's because, like dumping it in the great river of the Anduin, the ring may linger there for years and years, time out of mind, but eventually it will return. And when it does return, does get found by somebody, you know, reeling in a fish that accidentally swallowed the ring, and then eating it and finding, hey, there's a ring in here. It will find its way back to Sauron eventually, because Sauron isn't destroyed. So even if it takes 5,000 more years, the ring will be rediscovered, and it will fight its way back to Sauron. So those two theories don't hold any water, and I think they're way better ideas than trying to use the eagles and just brute forcing your way essentially to the heart of Mordor. Because using eagles is not a subtle means, guys. The Fellowship decides that the only thing they can do, because they can't beat Sauron with force of arms, is to sneak it with a very small group of people into the heart of Mordor and destroy it that way. So, using the eagles, do you think Sauron, who actually spots the Fellowship and is aware of what they're doing and is able to exercise his will on the freaking wargs that find them in the wilderness before they get to the Misty Mountains, exercises his will even to find the hobbits before they're out of the Shire, before they even get to breathe? You know, he's tracking the progress of the Fellowship just perfectly. He knows exactly where they are. You think him with his abilities to track these guys through even Moria, exercising his will on the guys in there to attack them with the Balrog and stuff, on the Watcher in the water, and then obviously the freaking orcs know where they went afterward. They went to Lothlorien, so he knows that the ring is in Lothlorien. He doesn't know exactly who has it. He has a suspicion that it's still one of the hobbits. If he's able to spot them guys, do you not think he would be able to see and kind of figure out what they were doing if a freaking phalanx of 20 eagles flew over to Lothlorien right after they got there and then up and started flying straight for him? Obviously, he would know what's coming. Okay, so the stealth mission would be up, because the entirety of the Lord of the Rings is balanced on so many knife edges for it to work, that if you take any of them away, the whole thing falls apart. Like Aragorn using the Palantir to call out Sauron to get him to attack Minas Tirith before he's really fully ready, to just get him to spring a trap early. If he had done that slightly later, then freaking Frodo and Sam meet those guys on the road. No, sorry. Minas Morgul has more people later, not earlier. If he had done it earlier, then they meet him on the road. Minas Morgul has more people and has a renewed vigilance. They would be watching the stairs more intently, and they would probably capture them. There are all these different little things. Also, him calling out Sauron with the Palantir and resting it with his will shows Sauron, hey, what the devil, this Aragorn guy is super cocky. He has the sword that was reforged. He's Isildur's heir. Does that mean he has the ring? If he really thinks he can... Because Sauron knows that Aragorn knows the level and capacity of Minas Tirith and Rohan for war. They combined cannot stand a chance against Sauron, and he thinks that he would know that Aragorn has a pretty good understanding for that as well. So he must think he has some trick that not just Minas Tirith and Rohan could supply. Sauron thinks Aragorn has the ring. So if Aragorn doesn't call out Sauron, Sauron doesn't think Aragorn really has the ring. He keeps a better watch on Mordor catches Frodo and Sam going through the plains of Gorgoroth. It's bad. All these different things. Aragorn having the battle at the Black Gates at the timing he did, right when Sam and Frodo are like in the most dangerous spot of the journey as far as watchfulness. If Sauron's will and eye is not kept so intently on Aragorn and his movements with his little band, his tiny army of people that they could spare from Minas Tirith, if his eye isn't so intently on them because he thinks Aragorn has the ring, then Frodo and Sam fail. So the entirety of the quest hinges upon misdirection, on subterfuge, on them getting Sauron to look where the ring isn't, and to think that somebody else has the ring who doesn't actually have it. That's what I'm getting at here. So getting a bunch of freaking eagles and flying them straight toward Mordor is not very deceptive. He would not only figure out, hey, they're not going to try and use the ring against me in a battle. They're going to try and freaking destroy my ring. So that game would be up. And if you think the eagles could get to Mordor before they're ready, you haven't read the books very thoroughly. Because think about The Hobbit. The eagles pick up the dwarves and Gandalf and Bilbo from the out of the frying pan into the fire chapter, a few miles away from the exit of Goblin Town, the pass under the Misty Mountains. And guess what? They fly like a whole night to get to another spot, also basically in the Misty Mountains, the Eagle's Eyrie. So they don't teleport. They have to actually flap their wings and physically move their bodies to another location. So if you think that they could just get to Mordor before Sauron's ready, you're absurd. You're absurd, laddie. You're absurd. Sauron would spot these buddies flapping their wings and then stopping for breakfast, flapping their wings, stopping for lunch, flapping their wings, stopping for dinner, because the riders on them are still mortal and need food and rest and sleep. And he would have days, if not weeks, to prepare for this freaking thing that he can see hopscotching their way straight to Mordor. Okay? It's not subtle. It gives away the whole game. And the game is what is the whole reason that the quest to destroy the ring is successful in the first place. So, 2, a lot of people seem to think the eagles are overpowered. They're not. They really, really aren't. So, let's say the eagles get to Mordor. Somehow, they get over the mountains. They make it all the way to Mount Doom. Well, what weapon do we know of in the Lord of the Rings is very useful, very effective against eagles? And I know you movie fan, are saying, oh, the fell beasts, the winged steeds of the Nazgul, those guys would be great for fighting the eagles, because you saw that happen in the movie. And you're right, and it's probably true that Sauron bred more than 9 of them. And so he could probably have a whole little army of fell beasts there to attack the eagles when they got to Mount Doom. But there's something even more mundane, that he could populate the entirety of the vastness of Mordor's army with, give them all this weapon in order to fight the eagles. There's a freaking part in in The Hobbit, where the reason that the eagles don't take Gandalf as far as Gandalf would like is because they have to go over a land populated, once they're around Beorn's territory, they would have to go over a land populated by men. And they say, we can't really go over that territory because when men see us flying over like their flocks of sheep, they think they're coming to eat the sheep, and more often than not, the men are right. And men have longbows. Longbows are the weaknesses of the eagles. Is the weakness of the eagles. It's something that they are not equipped to freaking deal with. It's one of their biggest banes. It's just a longbow, a bow, bows and arrows. And so do you understand how absurd it would be to think that the eagles could just fly into the heart of Sauron's might and deal with any sort of threat they see there? Freaking a shepherd with a longbow is something that would deter them from being able to go over an area. One dude with a freaking longbow. You think Sauron doesn't have like catapults, trebuchets, weapons of war that far outmatch a longbow in its ability to cover the air? The reason that he doesn't immediately deploy these to wreck the eagles at the battle at the Black Gate is because he's not been looking for eagles. The whole time he's been focusing on Aragorn's progress from Minas Tirith and the Battle of Minas Tirith and everything going on there, following him to the Black Gates. So his eye has been so riveted on who he thinks is the ring bearer, is Isildur, or rather Elendil reincarnate, with the blade that freaking beat him. He's so riveted on that he doesn't see the eagles coming, and they're able to actually be a useful asset in the battle at the Black Gate. So now I think it's time we move on to what a volcano is defeats the ability of the eagles to be of much use in getting the ring to its destruction. So, in how it should have ended, it portrays Mount Doom as this hollow cone where there's the little jutty promontory of rock that Frodo walks out on and throws the ring into the lava, whereas Mount Doom is this hollow cone where you can look down to the lake of lava down there, and you could just drop the ring, splash down into it from the top, so the eagles, even if they weren't choked out by the toxic, deathly fumes that Mount Doom constantly spews out, they could theoretically just fly right over the top, have somebody toss the ring in, you're good. They don't actually have to go to the Crack of Doom, Samath Naur, and go through the entrance and turn what was aerial power into ground assault on Sauron's forge. But the thing is, that's not frickin' how a volcano works. And Tolkien knew that and wrote a way more realistic volcano than both Hishy and Peter Jackson portray. Peter Jackson's Samath Naur is you go through these gates and you come into this big empty vacant room with lava at the bottom and a rock jutting out, and it looks like the sort of thing where if you just flew an eagle like straight through the gates, you could probably plow over whatever longbowmen and whatever Nazgul and whatever cave trolls you had sitting on the promontory of rock, and maybe you all tumble over into this lake of lava and die, but you could probably just sweep through in there and destroy the ring. But that's not how a volcano is. That just wouldn't work. So a volcano, it's a big mountain which is just solid rock, and then boom, it blows its top and it has a caldera. The caldera is not a freaking sheer-sided tube down to a lake of lava. It's just a scooped out little crater on top with if the volcano is active, maybe a little smidge of a hole that bubbles up some lava every now and then. Just a little fizzle, some nice little surface level lava. It's not a tube that goes straight to the depths of the mountain and the crack of doom. So, one, you couldn't destroy the ring in that lava there, and I'll tell you why. It's because that little splidge of lava, if Mount Doom does splidge out some lava on the top, which it probably doesn't because it's not actively erupting most of the time. It's just spewing out fumes, whether from machines that Sauron made. Actually, I think probably definitely from machines that Sauron has there to keep it spewing out fumes. There's a lot of evil machinations that Sauron puts into Mount Doom to give it to constantly have this cover of darkness over Mordor. It's not just a natural phenomena that, hey, Mount Doom always puts out fumes. So he's got this thing rigged up there to keep it spewing out fumes. And so we don't know whether or not there is actually any lava on top of there. But let's say, for the sake of argument, no, there is some lava up there. And let's say the Eagles invented gas masks and they can friggin' Flappy Bird through the fumes without choking out their riders and themselves and dying because they're evil Sauron fumes. And Sauron, if he saw the Eagles coming, would definitely put an extra dose of poison stuff in it. But let's say, right, they've got gas masks and they're not being singed by the burning hot vapor of fumes. And so they fly over and frickin' Frodo flips the ring and it falls down into that little puddle of lava. Well, he just screwed himself because that wouldn't destroy the ring. Because what destroys rings of power? It's not even that all the rings have to be destroyed at the forge that they were created at. It's heat. Dragon's fire is hot enough to consume the lesser rings of power, the ones that were made before the great rings of power. It's able to eat them up, and I think maybe some of the dwarven rings of power, Dragon's fire has consumed, is able to consume those. But even Dragon's fire, as hot as that is not able to touch or smudge the One Ring, because it has to be destroyed in something much, much hotter. And also its origin place. And guess what? It didn't originate at the top of Mount Doom. It originated in the forge in Samath Naur over here in the side of Mount Doom. Also, the little splidge of lava that's sitting at the top on the surface cooling is not going to be hot enough to destroy the ring. Even if it is glowing hot, it's still going to be much less, just have a lot less oomph to it than the lava in Samath Naur. So let's talk about Samath Naur. How is it in the actual books? So in the books, the Crack of Doom, Samath Naur, is a dark tunnel into the side of the mountain that you have to kind of stumble down for a good long ways before there's a fissure in the tunnel. So it's not a big empty room, big cavernous room with lots of reverb and an easy sight line from anywhere down into the lake of lava below. It's a tunnel that goes into the mountainside, and then there's a fissure through the tunnel where you can drop the ring from there. It's just a crack. It's the Crack of Doom, okay? And down there, Tolkien describes there being this sound of like constant churning and sort of perturbed furnace noises, as if there was great machines at work. So Sauron's forge might be an actual forge. It might not just be he forged the ring in some lava. It might be an actual forge that keeps the lava as hot as possible so he can use it in his devious devices. It might be an actual forge is what I'm saying. So that is going to be lava hot enough to destroy the ring. Also, it's its origin place, and it's supposed to be destroyed at its origin place, which is specifically not this big empty cavern in the middle of the volcano. It's this little tunnel, and then, it's probably not even like through the crust of the mountain that this fissure is. It's a localized location. It's not someplace that you could just like fly an eagle and then into the hole and drop it there. No, because it's a volcano. It's a mountain, guys, with some lava in it. So it's this specific spot that you need to destroy the ring in. That's why the eagles would not be useful for just flying overhead and dropping it. No, you actually have to go to the gate, go through the tunnel, hope that there's nothing inside of there, get to the fissure, and throw it. All this is happening over here in this crust. Throw it into the fissure here, into its forge, and the heat of that lava will destroy it. So, when you say that why didn't they just fly the eagles to Mordor? What you're actually saying is, why didn't, once they get to Lothlorien, or send out some messages from Rivendell that will definitely never get to where they're intended, because Sauron was watching Rivendell so closely, and if you just send out some freaking elf dude or dude or something to try and get to the Eagle's Eyrie by himself, he's going to, one, get ambushed by the wargs, two, not be able to make it over the mountain, so have to go under through Moria, have to fight off the Balrog and all of those boys, etc., etc., etc. And then hopefully, if this dude that you sent as a messenger can get to the other side, maybe he can avoid all this other stuff that Sauron will be throwing him, and get to the Eagles to get the message to have him fly the Eagles to Rivendell. So, and all that, again, if we say that's what the Fellowship does after they get to Lothlorien, they send for the Eagles once they're on the correct side of the mountains. Because Sauron sent freaking orcs into Moria to try and recover the ring after the Moria. Sauron sent orcs into Lothlorien, or the Lorien, to try and recover the ring after the Moria incident. Actually, it might have not just been Sauron, it might have just been the orcs hunting them down, but he's very aware of where the ring is. Okay, he knows that it's in Lothlorien. So if you send somebody out there to try and get to the Eagle's Eyrie, to get the Eagles to come there, they're going to have a little adventure as well. And if they make it, let's say, they make it, the Eagles go to Rivendell or Lothlorien and agree to carry however many people to Mordor. This is another thing that people contest, is whether the Eagles would even agree to that. And I think it's worth bringing up, but it's merely speculation. The Eagles probably would agree, I think, given the importance of the mission. It's literally the fate of Middle-earth. So, the Eagles freaking, whether at Lothlorien or Rivendell, get a few people on their backs and start hot-footing it to Mordor, stopping, of course, for food and for rest, because they have to carry these big, heavy boys on their backs. And the boys on their backs also have to eat. Well, let's say Sauron's like, okay, I'm not going to try and interrupt their journey at all. I'm just going to wait for them to get to me. And so they have an uneventful few days or weeks, however long it takes for them to get to Mordor. Well, one, they're not getting over the mountains. They're going to be shot down so freaking easily. Fell beasts hitting them while arrows are spewing, plus whatever other devilries Sauron could cook up to just launch at these eagles, because he's had so much prep time, as always factors into Batman's scenarios. He would have all this prep time, and there'd be absolutely zero ambiguity in the tactic they're using against him. He knows exactly what they're doing. So he's going to try put out every ounce of his power to recover the ring. But let's say frick it. Somehow they get over the FL Duath or the other mountain range through or over the Black Gate, and they're flying, and they're not getting choked out by the toxic fumes that Sauron would make even more toxic. And somehow they freaking get to Mount Doom itself. Well, guess what? They can't fly over the top of it and drop it in the top, as I have said. So what they have to do is either get shot out of the sky by the entirety of Sauron's army, plus the fell beasts, plus whatever other devilries, as I've mentioned, that are just going to be camped right on the mountainside in front of the gate to Samath Naur. They're either going to get blasted out of the sky there, and the people on top of them are going to fall to their death. Or maybe, let's say, all the arrows miss, all the millions and millions of arrows miss, and they land there. So now, guess what? You got to get through the tunnel to get to the fissure to drop the ring in. Well, I hoped you picked some hardy boys, because there's a likelihood that Sauron himself is going to be in that tunnel, plus all of his best fighters. Because we know that Sauron has the ability to manifest himself in physical form, that he isn't completely bodily destroyed from the fact that while Sam and Frodo are at Cirith Ungol, Frodo overhears his captors talking about, hey, given like what this guy's got on, this might be an interrogation and torturing so valuable if the war wasn't going on, that he himself would come to see it done. Or we'll send it, I forget if they said they would send him to Lugbert's, Barad-dûr, and he himself would do the interrogation, or whether Sauron himself would come. Obviously indicating that it's not like the movies where he's completely destroyed and he can only manifest himself as an eyeball. No, he's recovered enough power to be physically present. So you might be actually fighting Sauron to try and get through the tunnel to the fissure, in the seat of Sauron's power and the seat of the ring's power of temptation, plus all his best lieutenants and powers and cave trolls and all the craziest things he could cook up, fell beasts and stuff that he could just cram in that tunnel to keep you from getting there. But let's say, frick it, you beat all of them, and now it's unlikely that anybody would survive that, but somehow somebody does, and they make it to the fissure. Well, guess what? They're just going to take the ring for themselves, because Tolkien says that in that hour Frodo's will didn't fail him, because he says, I don't think anybody that he's ever written could ever withstand that test, to not take the ring at its place of origin. If somebody made it that far, they must be someone of immense power, maybe Gandalf, maybe Aragorn, something crazy like that. And now what you've got is someone powerful enough to have defeated Sauron and all his lieutenants, and maybe he has a few allies left alive, maybe Gwahir or somebody behind him. If it's Gandalf, maybe he's got Aragorn there. And now you have to face the fact that this guy is going to take the ring as a certainty. We know this because Tolkien says so. And now him, as the owner of the ring, is going to turn around, and if you try and force him to destroy it, you're definitely going to lose. But two, if you win, you're just going to take the ring for yourself. And so there'll be this endless little chain of people claiming the ring if they're able to defeat the person at the height of their power, plus the ring. So the absurdity of why not use the eagles, I hope, is being borne in upon you. I don't know how long this video is. Hopefully it's long enough that you've nodded off by now. But I'm sorry for not phrasing this all in like the most concise manner possible. There's a lot of drivel, especially at the beginning of this video. But these few factoids, I thought for some reason most people just don't think about, or they don't weight, give them the proper weight in this discussion as they should. The main factoids being Mount Doom has a caldera, not a tube to a lake of lava. You can destroy it at the top of the mountain. You have to destroy it at its place of origin, Samath Naur. And 2, Samath Naur is actually way more easily defensible than you think. 2, eagles don't teleport, so Sauron has plenty of prep time. 3, eagles' biggest stated weakness is longbows, and that's freaking one of the easiest weapons in the world to make. Maybe not to train people on, but with a target the size of one of the eagles, one of the great eagles, it's hard to miss. Let's see, weakness. Oh yeah, for getting there quicker doesn't mean you have a greater chance of being able to fight off Sauron, because the whole point of the Lord of the Rings is that you can't fight off Sauron by hand. He's got way more army might than you and way more bodily might than you, so you have to beat him by him not knowing what you're doing. So yeah, you're screwed if you can even make it there and beat the rest of his army, because then you have to beat him. And you're probably not Gil-galad and Elendil, 2 of the greatest warriors to exist in Tolkien's fiction, who fought Sauron to a standstill, and they both lost their lives. You're probably not those laddies, and they both died while fighting Sauron to a standstill. To the point that Isildur could come along and just cut the ring off his finger. That's how beaten Sauron was when fighting him. You're probably not one of those laddies, and so you're probably going to die. And even if you do win, you're going to claim the ring, and you're either going to kill all your friends when they try and take it from you to make you destroy it, because you're obviously a being of immense power, or 2, they will kill you because maybe somehow it was one of the hobbits who was able to make it to the crack of doom, and they fell to the test of the ring, and they put it on, and you're like, okay, well, frick, I've got to take the ring. So you kill the invisible dude walking around, and you take the ring because you're powerful enough that you could beat them even though they have the ring. Well, when you take the ring, you're gonna fall to the test as well. And this is why you can't do the eagles, the whole eagles thing. But as we all know, the biggest reason that you can't use the eagles is because that makes a lame story. Tolkien could have easily written it so that they do use the eagles and bypass all these tests and by the skin of their teeth destroy the ring, but it's a worse story. So that really is the biggest reason why you can't use the eagles, is because it's a lamer story. Yeah. Ashnaz Durbatuluk, Ashnaz Gimbatul, Ashnaz Thrakatuluk, Ak Berzamishi Kripatul.